Hey everybody, it's Krista. So I wanted to talk to you today about snacks because when we started our real food journey, that was probably one of our most challenging areas because we knew we had to get rid of the goldfish crackers and the Cheez-Its and all the snack convenient junk that we had in the house. And our kids were kind of looking at us like, so now what? And so my husband's suggestion was, let's buy an popcorn popper. And I looked at him and I said, what do you mean, like old school? Like pop the kernels, you know? And so we did, and we fell in love with it. And now this is one of our kids' favorite snacks, especially our son. And as you know, teenage boys, they eat a lot. So it really is pretty simple. What I've done is I've actually gone ahead and popped the popcorn. So this holds about half a cup of popcorn kernels. You can buy white or yellow, it doesn't matter. And so what you want to do is just drop it in, and then you would, this is the Pop Light popcorn popper. This is the one that we like. It's nice and tall, and so you don't have popcorn flying all over the kitchen. You might lose a few here and there, but it just takes a couple minutes to pop the popcorn. Now, why are we doing this? Because we used to be microwave popcorn lovers, and there's nothing wrong with that occasionally. But have you looked at the ingredients of the microwave popcorn? When we first did a coaching tip on Eat Real America about air pop popcorn, Zanya said, well, you're gonna talk about popcorn lung, aren't you? And I said, popcorn what? And popcorn lung is actually a condition that people that work in the manufacturing plants, it's a condition that they develop because of all the chemicals that go in the bags of the popcorn. And so it definitely has stuff going on in there that can be detrimental to our health. But another thing, have you ever checked out the ingredients of the seasoning packets? It's not good. There's a whole lot going on in there. So we're gonna do a couple of seasoning ideas as well. So our basic idea is just all you would need is olive oil and salt. That's it. We actually love to use the olive oil sprayer. If you don't have an olive oil sprayer, this is a great investment. They're only about $7 to $10. You fill them halfway with olive oil, and then you pump them until it gets pretty tight. And then all you have to do is spray and then add a little bit of salt and you're good to go. Now that's kind of the basic no frills version. So what I wanted to show you is, you know, everybody seems to have a personal preference when it comes to snacks. Some people like sweet, some people like salty. So we're gonna do a couple different versions. The first version we're gonna do is a honey vanilla. So if you like kettle corn, if you like sweet popcorn, this is yours to try. Okay, so I'm gonna mix everything up in a mason jar. So we are going to do 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Now I always do the olive oil first because I'll show you my favorite trick. If you do 2 tablespoons of olive oil, then when you go to add the tablespoon of honey, it slides right out. So then a tablespoon of honey, no sticky mess. Then we're going to add just 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla, so just a little bit of vanilla. And then we're gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then I would just start with 1/2 teaspoon, and if you feel like it needs a little bit more, you can always add more. So then mix it up in the mason jar. Now you of course could just drizzle everything on here. I just like mixing it up in the mason jar because I feel like it does a better job of getting everything all mixed together. So then our honey goes in because that's always the last to come out. And then you would toss it together. Now you could also put this in a large plastic Ziploc bag and mix it up that way. Whatever you think is easier. I did a cooking demo at a company and we did a couple different versions, and there was somebody that said, I'm just gonna take this whole bowl back to my desk. He loved it that much. And we have a couple different versions on eatrealamerica.com that kind of show you different flavor seasonings that you can do. We have a pizza one, and then we have one that's called sweet and spicy, and that is almost one of my favorites because I think it tastes like barbecue potato chips. But the key in it is a little maple syrup and then some smoked paprika, and it's really, really good. But the thing with these is they're ideal when you want to season your popcorn and eat it right away. So if you're having movie night, mix this up and you are good to go. But we all know that there's occasions where you want to make popcorn and season it so you can bag it up, whether you're going to the basketball game or a baseball game, or even just snacks to take to work to get you through the week. And so I'm gonna show you another version that is all dry ingredients. So this one works great to kind of use leftover. So we're going to, this is just what would come out of that half a cup of popcorn kernels again. So what I like to do is I spray it with olive oil first, and then I toss it. And then I spray it again and toss it again. I do this a couple of times because when we first did this seasoning mix, I just took a tablespoon of olive oil and I drizzled it from the tablespoon. And our popcorn connoisseur son, after I added the seasonings, he's like, Mom, it's not very well coated. Use the sprayer. The olive oil sprayer does a better job. So according to him, that is the best way to do this. So then once we've got the olive oil on here, so this is actually a mixture of seasonings. So there is paprika. So there's a teaspoon of paprika, chili powder, onion powder, garlic powder. There's a dash of cayenne, about 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne, and then 1 teaspoon of salt. There's also cumin in here. So we are going to sprinkle that on. I know it seems like a lot. Now the next thing that we're gonna add is we're gonna add 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. So I had no idea what nutritional yeast was. It has a cheesy, nutty flavor. And people that are vegan or vegetarian are huge fans of nutritional yeast. So I went to Zanya and I said, what exactly is this? I mean, the ingredients are really clean, but basically nutritional yeast is deactivated yeast. It's grown on molasses. It's harvested, dried, and then it's turned into flakes or powder. So you can buy it in flakes or powder. I normally buy whichever's cheapest. This happens to be the flakes. So we're gonna add 1/4 cup. I know it seems like a lot, but it will get all mixed in. Now this is gonna kind of taste like taco seasoning. It's called the Fiesta Spiced Popcorn, and it will go over well, I promise you. I even had somebody tell me that it kind of tasted like Fritos, chili cheese Fritos. And then the major consensus was taco or Fiesta. So this one is great to bag up and take it on the go. It'll last all week, and great snack. So I wanted to tell you just another idea of something that we love to do when it comes to snacks is nuts, but we roast them just like you would roast vegetables. So all we did is we took our favorite variety of snacks, and we have this recipe on the website and in the cookbook, but this is a combination of walnuts, pecans, almonds. We threw some pistachios in here. There's some pumpkin seeds or pepitas in here. You could also use sunflower seeds. You can use whole almonds, sliced almonds. It really is a great way to just use up whatever nuts you happen to have in the house and put them in a bowl. Now this is actually the recipe doubled, because when we go to the trouble to make it, it's so good that we always want to double it. But then your seasonings are dried rosemary, a little bit of salt, a tablespoon, 1 to 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, and then some curry powder, a teaspoon of curry powder. It's actually 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of curry powder, but most people like to go the full teaspoon of curry powder. It's so good. And so you kind of, and there's actually a dash of cayenne in here too, so you kind of have the like sweet with a little kick, but just roast it. And we put it on parchment paper. It'll help keep it from getting too brown, but then just roast it for 15 minutes, toss it. You might need another 5, and it will crisp up as it cools. But again, you can bag these up, because the key on real food snacks is don't let yourself get stuck. Don't let yourself get out where you don't have any good options. But if you had nuts or popcorn in the car even, it would just make life so much easier. But even if you don't want to go to the trouble of roasting the nuts, put together your own little trail mix. Like take your favorite nuts, add some dried cranberries, some coconut flakes, even some dark chocolate chips. You could bag that up and be out the door. And then you won't be stuck with nothing when you're starving, or like walk in the door to make dinner and you're starving, because we all know that leads to trouble. So we have tons of ideas on Eat Real America. I would love for you to check them out. We also have sweet treat ideas, more to come on demos for that. But we just wanted to give you a few ideas, and thanks for joining us. We can't wait to hear from you. Thanks.